Do Not Collapse in Fear is the title of this week's installment of Ezekiel Kralen's ongoing story that started out being all about the two little dogs, Flacco and Lucky, but now it's about legal issues, it seems, week after week. And this week starts like this. Email correspondence, April 20th, regarding, well, that was a relief. Date, April 20th. Watson wrote, I believe exactly that will happen. I replied, going by my bodhisattva premise, that is exactly how things will turn out. Plaintiffs, building manager, et al. Were putting me through my paces as bodhisattva guardians themselves, knowing I'd become a better person by dealing with the challenge in as compassionate and worry-free as is humanly possible. The veritable, you see that kerning of the font. Looks just like an N. The veritable hokiness of their accusations, including failure to provide not even a stitch of evidence, was their clue that all is not what it seems. And they've certainly witnessed many times over how much I adore Flacco and Lucky. Had I succumbed to the demons of fear, anger, worry, or any other negative manifestation, I would have still won, though not before going through agonizing and prolonged travail. Just as it says in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and I paraphrase, upon each level you ascend to, demons will be waiting at the gate to try to scare you away. They will wield terrible weapons before you, scimitars, spiked clubs, fiery arrows, and the like. Do not collapse in fear, but be steadfast and calm, and don't attempt to fight back, upon which they will drop their weapons, and along with that their hideous masks, to reveal themselves as loving angels, and they will then let you pass through. Otherwise, you'll be stuck on your present level for another lifetime or longer. I have always thought that the lessons taught in this sacred Buddhist text apply to the living as well as to the dead, because after all, is not this life we now know but one of these levels, with further levels beyond? And as the Buddha once said, heaven and hell are a state of mind. In other words, one can ascend to higher levels without waiting to die. For every major challenge is a death of sorts, anyway, for the new you to emerge to the next level of consciousness. Signed, Z.K. Holmes. P.S. So kudos to Kevin for playing a most honorable role as one grown senile and decrepit and appears ready to kick the bucket. Superb acting, I say there. Good physician. Superb acting. Likewise for my former quasi-fascist neighbor who supposedly died some months back, though I suspect he simply moved elsewhere and allowed Kevin to fake his death as part of the script to provide me with yet another good tale to tell, as well as guide me along on my path to nirvana. And haven't these two lawsuits made for even more great stories to weave? Subject, law.com, closed my thread. Date, April 21st, morning. The next to last reply was, frankly, the questions you're asking go beyond the scope of what an online forum can provide for you. If you can't figure it out, you need an attorney. And the last one was by the super moderator. And with that, I'm locking the thread. We've done all we can for you, denizen. So I posted the following reply directly to the super moderator. I see you've closed this thread I started, so I couldn't thank everyone for their help. If at all possible, could you do that for me? I greatly appreciate such useful advice given me by all participants. What next, Watson? I will attend the LARC workshop this afternoon between 4 and 6 p.m. I only get a 20-minute consultation, so I now have to prepare my questions as succinctly as possible, and they do handle personal injury cases, according to a page on their website that I found some moments ago, which eluded me previously. Their policy is to pair up a client with one of their attorneys who has at least 5 years in the practice, so that's good. LARC is sponsored by the SF Bar, and they'll probably advise me to get a lawyer pro bono from them, in which case I'll inform them I've already tried that with no luck and how that happened. Maybe, just maybe, the attorney I speak with will rectify that for me by contacting the SF Bar themselves. I could receive consultation over the phone or Zoom. I think it's best to show up in person. Of course, you'll be the first, because only person to know how things went once I return hovel. Now, I got to march on down to the UPS store up the block and have them print out my general denial, court fee waiver, and proof of service forms. 7 pages total. Should cost less than $1 unless inflation has raised their fees, in which case it'll cost around $2, I guess. Subject. Least expensive process server is, date April 21st, early afternoon, the sheriff's office. Just $40. Located in City Hall, right around the corner from the court, where I register my reply and 2 other documents, and LARC is just a block away from there. Splendiferously convenient. By the way, UPS printout of 7 pages, double-sided, plus 1 manila envelope came to $6.59. So, yeah, inflation. Subject, more good news. Date April 21st, mid-afternoon. The sheriff's office will serve papers for you. The sheriff's office charges money unless the court waived the fee. In addition, the sheriff's office will file the proof of service for you and give you a copy of the form. Least expensive process server is, date April 21st, late afternoon. Watson wrote, excellent, with 3 bang marks after that. I replied, it just keeps getting better, Watson. I am fully prepared for my LARC consultation, including this question. SF Bar accepted my request for an attorney based on my low income, but the attorney they referred to does not do pro bono, and his sliding scale fees still go into the thousands. I contacted SF Bar, said I think they made an error, and can they rectify this by referring me to an attorney who does pro bono? The woman on the phone said they don't do pro bono for anyone, and they have no idea just how much any attorney's fees will be. Can you possibly straighten this out for me? The point there is I really don't want to represent myself at trial or any other matter related to the lawsuit. I will bring the plaintiff's complaint and summons with me, of course, along with forms I need to fill out. All my questions are now copied to a text file on my smartphone, so I can have them right before me when I speak with an attorney. In fact, here they are, minus the question above. Begin. I am judgment-proof. Is mailing a summons with complaint and 2 copies of acknowledgement of receipt legit in lieu of serving by hand? I have never been shown any evidence of harm to the plaintiff by these dogs, which are small, 25 pounds each, and are half dachshund with the same small, weak jaws. Plaintiff claims he had to get rabies shots, suffered much trauma, had to quit his job. Complaints are either questionable, blatantly incorrect, or grossly exaggerated. Should I just ignore the summons or reply with a general denial or perhaps a motion to strike? The other defendant is my landlord. If I don't respond with a general denial, will the complaints against me be directed at the landlord? I believe the building manager coached the plaintiff with hostile intent against me, thus the false claims and exaggerations. I can't afford an attorney. If it goes to court, I'll have to represent myself. Can I continue to waive all court fees for this? Subject, still working on the LARC report, but, date April 21st, evening. You are welcome. I have made sure that our folks see this message. I'm sorry. This just came in from thelaw.com, where Supermoderator posted back to me, you are welcome. I have made sure that our folks see this message. So I replied, thank you immensely. Also tell them that I now have access to personal injury attorneys at LARC, legal assistance, and referral clinic to guide me every step of the way, representing myself. I can just come to the clinic whenever I'm ready to go to the next level. The attorney I spoke with this afternoon said it looks like I'm good to go with the general denial, which is the best way to proceed, and that once I deliver that reply, plaintiff's attorney will very likely just drop the case because the complaints are so hokey and subjective, non-factual in the first place. He said, looking at plaintiff attorney's bar number, that he's barely out of the gate. He ranks lower in the field, only had his license since 2021, that is an ambulance chaser. This attorney I spoke with said he's been in this line of work over 40 years. He knows a shoddy lawsuit when he sees one. He was impressed I had both forms ready and filled out properly, general denial and fee waiver. I will go to the sheriff's office on Monday after registering my denial and waiver with the appropriate court clerk. Someone from the sheriff's office will hand-deliver my denial and send me proof of delivery and register it with the court, all free of charge, thanks to my waiver. So I told this attorney, after he was so impressed with how ready I am to proceed, want to know which people helped me out the most to get me to this point as soon as possible? They're members of an online forum at thelaw.com. So I have much gratitude to everyone who participated in my thread, patiently guiding me out of the woods of my own ignorance to a bright place of understanding how the law works in my case. May each of you who have done this for me know what a good thing you've achieved in this person's life, and be cheered whenever you think of me, how I showed up out of the blue and disappeared almost as quickly, like a butterfly that landed on your hand. Oh, now, that was sappy, but I said it that way to give you all a hearty chuckle. I have met some incredibly intelligent, dedicated, and compassionate souls at the legal field on this journey, in the legal field, on this journey that began with much angst, but has since morphed into quite a splendid adventure. Thank you again, and pleasant dreams, and good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. End. Now back to my LARC report. While listening to Marshall's live streaming radio show and knowing I have a true friend up there in Mendoland who has been such an unbelievable anchor of wisdom and humor for me for so many years, it can't possibly get any better than this. Wait, yes it can. Having the pups back in my sanctuary would be the cherry on the frosting of the cake, and it will happen in Glob's own good time. And lastly, subject, get in there. Maybe another hour to go. Date, April 22nd. Meanwhile, check this out. 7-second video I uploaded today showing our decrepit resident manager enter the building while pushing on a walker. Description. So many sad scenes below my window, and not always to do with the homeless. This fellow just returned a week ago after more than 2 months in the hospital, where he came close to death. Well, he's still close to death, and I wouldn't call his present state of health living. The truth of the matter is, the longer we live, the closer we are to death. I raise my plastic skull mug filled with bubbling mead to the mystery of it all. Join me, won't you please? To be continued.